This is a Crack House Chronicles production.
Welcome to the Crack House Chronicles, your favorite true crime podcast. I am Donnie, and with me is a man that wants everyone to know that the best way to sneak a beer into work is to put it in your belly first. It's Dale.
Of course.
Yeah.
No evidence.
Yeah.
Easy in, easy out.
No detection at all.
Just don't breathe for a while.
Yeah. Don't come near me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come in with a mouthful of Big Red, you know something's up.
Yeah. A mouthful of breath mints.
Yeah, no, I do not suggest you do that.
No, we just tell jokes on here.
Yeah. Wink, wink. No, no.
What's going on, dude?
You know what, man? Same old, same old.
Same old. Back in the Crack House doing an episode.
Yes, man. Yes,
We got
man.
a crazy story this week.
We do have a crazy story this week.
You got anything good going on you want to talk about before we get going?
Well, yeah, survived the fair, so, that was fun. Shout out to all the people who cussed me because they didn't get a front row parking spot or a handicapped spot when everybody's coming in wanting to be first, but can't be first.
Nope.
No. Anyway, had good weather, ended up, and it was a good time, good turnout, and shout out to my buddies at Colors French Fry Stand, Keith and Billy and the guys. Appreciate everything they do for me. Gave them a little Crack House swag, so they got a couple shirts and some stickers and stuff, and everything was good, man. Good.
You got some French fries.
Yeah, I got more than, man, them dudes take care of me, and much love.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, they'd give me boxes of them if I wanted.
That's right.
Good dudes. But anyway, speaking of good dudes, hey, how about that? Seeing how we ain't getting much love from Apple Podcast folks lately, I jumped over to Spotify and checked, and man, look at there. We have something from Aaron Treharn, if I said that right. I'm sorry if I mispronounced. But anyway, these are comments under the John List episode we had, Donnie. Says, great episode. I saw the America's Most Wanted about him when I was a kid, and I remember it scared me to death. This story still gives me the creeps.
Ooh.
And he gives us the creeps too. And we have another one on the same podcast from Jenny Sally. And it says, his story is what inspired the Stepfather movies. Great job as usual, guys. And that Stepfather movie, man, I remember when it came out, it was pretty wild. And it was a good movie, so I did not know that. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. So we appreciate you guys going on there and giving us some love anywhere you can. Thanks so much.
Yeah, give those Spotify listeners some love. You know, a lot of people listen on Spotify, Pandora, all these other platforms.
YouTube.
Yeah. So we appreciate everyone that goes on there and gives us a 5-star rate and review. It helps the cause a whole lot, man.
It does, man. Help those algorithms to send some folks to us.
All right, dude, after this short break, we're going to get back and do this episode.
All right, man, let's do it.
All right, Dale, we are back.
We are back.
And, man, we got a crazy case. And this is a lesser-known case, one that we like to do.
Yes.
And we're going up to Montana. Have we ever done an episode from Montana?
Exactly what I was fixing to say. I don't think so.
I don't think we have. Maybe we have. I don't know. But
is this anywhere near Yellowstone?
I don't know.
The TV show, not the park?
No, I don't think so.
Either one.
But we're going up to Montana. We're going up to a little town in Montana called Florence.
Florence.
Yeah, that's right. And this town of Florence, it is a small census-designated area there in Montana. And it's small. In the 2000 census, there were 901 people living there. So it's a pretty small area that we're talking about.
Right. I think now the census, or last I looked, is right around 1,000 folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of hovers around that
Yeah,
little area.
well, 2015 I think was down around 500 or so, but now it's up a little bit.
Yeah. But this was a horrific murders that took place there in Florence, Montana.
Right.
And this took place on Tuesday morning, November the 6th, 2001. So just about this time, this was just right after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On this date, on November the 6th, there in Florence, there was a beauty shop. It was called the Hair Gallery. It was a salon that was owned by Dorothy Harris. And it was located at 5355 West US 93 there in Florence. It's a main highway through Florence. And this was just a little small building. It was isolated off this regularly used road there in Florence, yeah.
I mean, there were some other buildings around it, but it's not like a strip mall or nothing.
No, they're not piled on top of each other or anything like
correct.
that.
Yeah.
So it's just buildings spaced out.
Mm-hmm.
But this building, it used to be the post office there in Florence.
I wonder if they got a new one or if they just took it out.
Probably got a new one, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, they didn't have hardly anybody there, so.
Yeah, but this building, I mean, it had a nice parking area.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty of room. So I really don't know about what happened to the post office. But this salon, it was called the Hair Gallery, and it was owned by Dorothy Harris. And on this morning, this was getting at about 11 o'clock that we're talking about. And this is when a customer pulled into the parking lot there, Dale.
Mm-hmm.
And this lady said that she recalled seeing a strangely dressed individual walking out of the hair gallery.
Right.
And they were wearing a large black duster-style coat. This is the coats that were worn typically in the Old West, that you would see the cowboys wear, them long coats.
Right, and I've seen different stories where there was either waist length or longer. So if they're saying duster, I'm thinking knee length or something.
At least
to me,
At least knee length, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And this individual was also wearing what might have been a top hat or large fedora at the time they were coming out of the front door of this salon.
Which was weird in a way, because everybody used the rear entrance.
They did.
As the entrance to this place. So she thought that was odd right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Not mention he looked like Abe Lincoln, so apparently.
Yeah, that's what she was saying, yeah. But this customer that was pulling in, she was actually late for her appointment. But she made an unconscious note of this odd-looking person.
Well, I mean, come on, ain't every day you see Abe Lincoln walking out of the hairstylist.
By wearing a
top hat and a duster.
Yeah. But she did make a mental note, and she continued looking at him as she was pulling into the parking lot.
Right.
Yeah. But she had made a manicure appointment for about 11 a.m. And at that time, it was fast approaching, and she parked and got out of the car and made her way to the back door of the hair gallery, which she knew, like you mentioned, was the main entrance that would get you into the shop.
Correct.
Because a lot of people didn't use the front door.
Yeah.
Everybody that...
Well, I assumed the front door was what they used to use for the post office, and that it had been rearranged since it had taken over and become a hair salon, so everybody knew to use the other entrance.
Because we'll post pictures of this too, and the parking lot is sort of to the side of the building, and there's some parking behind.
Right.
It'd probably just make it easier to go in the back door.
Yeah, more accessible.
Absolutely,
100%, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to walk all the way around the building to the front.
Correct.
But this lady got to the door, and before she could even step in the door, Dale, she found a woman laying dead just inside the doorway. And she stepped over this person and used the phone to call 911. Can you imagine walking in and seeing this in a pool of blood?
No, I definitely am not stepping over and going in. Sorry.
No. But she called 911. The police would discover eventually there were 2 more women dead in the back room of this shop.
Yeah, but they had no idea till they got there and started clearing the building.
That's right.
Actually, I think EMTs had come in to check the lady laying there, and then once the police and stuff was coming in to clear the building, that's when they discovered that.
Yeah.
So it's not, you couldn't see it from the front. The lady who called never even knew this.
That's right. But the ladies there in the shop that were dead was 62-year-old Dorothy Harris. She was the owner of this shop.
Right.
And then there was 44-year-old Brenda Patch. And
she was a manicurist.
That's right.
Yeah, she was an employee.
And 71-year-old Cynthia Paulus.
Right.
Now, Cynthia, she had actually changed her appointment to this Tuesday morning because she was going to a basketball game there that night.
Yeah, she was a big supporter of the lady basketball team there. And she always had a standing appointment on Fridays, but since they had a game this night, she wanted to look her best.
That's right.
So she had changed it that morning, I believe.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of background on these ladies. Let's get into some of these ladies a little bit, Dale.
Okay.
Now, Dorothy Harris, like we said, she was 62, and she was born and raised in Montana. Everybody described her as an entrepreneur who owned and operated this hair gallery for many, many years. And the salon, it was a modest, single-story building, it was off this busy highway, and it served as this local hub for locals, 5 days a week, and they were closed on Sundays and Mondays.
Correct.
And Dorothy was known for her warm personality, her crafting hobbies in her spare time, and dedication to her business.
Yeah, and helping out anybody in the community that needed it.
Yeah, she was
a good person, yeah.
Very community-oriented person.
Yes.
And a stable life. The way she was described.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a very strict routine because every Tuesday morning, before she went to work, actually she'd go into the shop and collect her money from the previous week or whatever and go to the bank that Tuesday morning before she opened up.
And I don't know if they had a safe, like she would probably put it all in there, because for open Saturday night you couldn't go deposit or whatever because the banks would be closed. So she probably had a safe or somewhere in there that she kept all the money, and then she would go Tuesday mornings, collect everything, do her paperwork, and then run off to the bank.
That's right. And the bank that she would normally go to was in Stevensville, and it was about 10 miles south of where this beauty shop was located.
Right.
Yeah. And the other lady that worked there at the salon, her name was Brenda Patch, and she was 44. And Dale, she was a long-time resident of Bitterroot Valley. And Brenda worked as the hair gallery's manicurist and was a familiar face to a lot of clients.
Mm-hmm.
But little is publicly detailed about her personal life, but she was described by friends and family as a kind-hearted and reliable person. And she had no known enemies or involvement with any kind of illicit activities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So on this day, on November the 6th, she was, performing her routine manicure when this attack happened. And the other lady that was in there, Cynthia Paulus, she was 71, and she was a customer. And Cynthia was a retired resident of Florence. And she was a regular customer at this hair gallery, and like you mentioned, a standing Friday morning client.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every Friday she had an appointment at this gallery.
Yes.
And Cynthia was pretty active in her community. She was looking forward to attending the University of Montana's basketball game that night, like you mentioned, and she was wanting to look good for that occasion.
Of course.
Yeah. And she was married with a family in the area, and she enjoyed local events and lived a quiet life, pretty much an unassuming life.
And she liked to go fishing.
Yeah. But Dale, none of these women that were attacked, they had any kind of criminal record or any kind of background, any criminal at all, and or documented ties to drugs or violence or disputes that anyone could explain.
So what you're saying is there ain't much of a motive here.
No, huh?
Especially right off the bat, we don't know. It's just strange.
But their death, it shattered the sense of safety there in Florence when this happened. I mean, it was like, bam. I saw a news clip from a guy that lived right there behind the salon, and he was talking to a news reporter, and he said he just saw all the lights and the sirens and ambulances and everything. He walked up there, and they told him it was a crime scene. You need to stay back. And it was a shock to him,
right,
to have this in his neighborhood. You know, I can't even imagine, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I saw an interview with one of the victim's sons who had said he had heard about it, but he didn't even think about the call, and it ended up being his mom was one of the victims.
Yeah.
He's like, he didn't even put it together. You know, he just heard that something happened, but didn't even realize that she might be involved.
I know. But getting into the investigation, the police immediately sought to ascertain a timeline of the events that happened that morning, and all three victims had been killed by having their throats cut. And it was discovered early on that Dorothy Harris, you know, like we said, had made her weekly deposit at the local bank, which was only 30 minutes before the customer had stumbled in on this crime scene, the one that come in and saw all this.
So we're saying 10:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this left a very small window of time for the crime to be committed.
Right.
So it's just crazy because the bank that she went to was about 15 to 20 minutes away, I guess, depending on traffic. But the police, they went on to theorize that Brenda Patch had opened up the shop that morning, and she had likely let Cynthia Paulus in before this predator had arrived. But Dale, nothing had been stolen from the shop, and there were no sexual assault that had occurred, which left the police pretty baffled to the motive for the crime. But it was clear that the killer had forced Brenda Patch and Cynthia Paulus back into a utility room before killing them. And they are thinking that maybe they waited for Dorothy Harris to come back, or maybe Dorothy came in right after the attacks happened before he got out.
So really nothing makes any sense if you think about it.
No, it doesn't.
Because nothing was stolen, nothing was taken. Their pocketbooks or none of that had been ramshackled or nothing. All we know is these two women were forced into the back room, kind of where they kept the hair dye and stuff. You know, even saying, you know, she had been there long enough for her nail polish to be removed, but it hadn't been reapplied, and her nail, whatever you call it,
buffer,
the
machine.
drill or whatever it's called. Yeah, the nail drill was still running. So I would assume that while she was going to the bank, this fella or whoever came in right when they were involved in doing this nail job.
Yes. Definitely.
So, enough to probably come up behind maybe one of them, and even with the knife, and then force them in there. That's why you just drop everything, and it was still running, But it's weird to me. I just don't understand, because you would think if it was a plan to go get money or something, which you apparently wouldn't because the pocketbooks and stuff were there, but why wouldn't you go earlier if you knew the routine to catch her on the way out with the money?
Yeah, you'd think.
Because according to a neighbor, she had arrived early that day, about 8 o'clock. Usually it was a little bit later when she got there, but she was out cleaning up, doing some trash cans and stuff around in the parking lot and fixing up, and then I would assume went in and got all her stuff together to leave to go to the bank, after they opened, which is assumably would be around 9 or so when they opened. So she got there, and Brenda came in, and then she left to go do all that running. So I don't know. It's very confusing.
Yeah, very, very confusing. But some police, they describe this scene as dynamic or even a battle scene.
Oh, I'm sure.
Particularly this closet where these two women were found, where it looked like a struggle had taken place.
Yeah, they said they had like some wounds like on their arms and hands, like, defensive wounds. So I'm sure there was, it's not like he took a gun in there and shot them in there, it's over with a knife. I mean, he had to do a little maneuvering, especially if you got two victims.
Mm-hmm.
So you could grab one and maybe... we kind of talked about this, how you thought maybe what went down, but if he came in while it was mid, doing her nails, he could have got behind one easily, and then probably used that as a threat to get them back, and then probably took care of one, and the other one tried to fight off. I'm assuming he probably would come in and get a hold of maybe the older lady who was getting her nails done.
Oh yeah.
Grab her, have the knife to her throat or whatever, and then the other lady's going to do whatever he says, because she don't want her to get hurt, and forces them in the back room, and they're hoping maybe he's going to put us in the back room and rob us and leave.
Yeah.
But that definitely is not what happened.
Because they did say that the ladies, it appeared that they were forced to their knees before they were killed. But
and they were like deeply cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the only physical evidence recovered was reported as an unidentified palm print and a pair of dark sunglasses, which neither...
Kind of wraparound sunglasses.
Yeah,
similar to what
yeah.
I got, yeah.
But none of this had been elaborated by authorities. They hadn't told much more about it, just dark sunglasses. They did release a photograph of these sunglasses.
Yeah, and supposedly they've been sent off, but as far as anybody knows, nothing had become of what, if they got any facts off of it.
Well, they did say that the only DNA that was found on them was the ladies at the shop. Nobody else's DNA on these.
And I would assume that would probably be from blood. What do you think?
Probably, yeah.
Because it probably fell if I don't know if I don't even know where they came from, and I'm not going to guess. Go ahead.
I know, but from the get-go, the authorities were unable to successfully develop a motive to explain the crime scene.
Well, nothing makes sense.
No, and they were left with several conclusions, none of which furthered this investigation. Robbery was considered early on, but was almost quickly dismissed due to the fact that nothing of value was taken, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if it was a robbery, they would at least took whatever's in their pocketbook, and that would... It doesn't make sense if you knew, and we'll get in a little bit more about why we think maybe whoever this was kind of knew the area. But if you did and you knew what was going on, you would definitely get there before she left with the weekend money.
Yeah.
You wouldn't wait till she got back with the bank with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That don't make any sense.
But the only thing that was taken, they determined, were 2 styling capes.
I wonder how they knew.
I don't know.
Because how would you know how many was there? Because the only people who knew how many was there are no longer with us.
I know. Unless family may have known. I don't know, but there was 2.
I doubt it.
2 capes they put around you to keep the hair from falling on you.
Right, yeah.
One of them was black and one was gold.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
And there was no, like we said, no cash taken or anything. It was just nothing, which is weird.
Very weird.
And they were thinking, maybe they knew Dorothy had gone to the bank early that morning. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking.
Well, I mean, the only thing that would make sense there, if you're saying that, is because I'm going to say that Cynthia, which that's the lady who was coming to get her nails done.
She was the customer, yeah.
I would rule her out as a target because she wasn't supposed to be there anyway.
No, she was like a last-minute appointment.
So it would then put the target on Brenda, who would be the manicurist, the 44-year-old lady.
Correct.
Because Dorothy ain't there.
That's right.
So, and if he was coming to kill her, why? I mean, then the other lady would be collateral damage because you saw who I am, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then all I'm thinking is he just didn't leave in time before Dorothy shows up, and that's why she was killed in the doorway at the back door. Probably saw her drive up because there's a lot of windows in this building.
Yes.
Being it used to be the post office. Probably saw her drive up, waited for her to walk in the door and take her out right there, and then turn around and walk out the front door.
Mm-hmm.
But none of it still makes any sense. I just don't believe this is random Joe driving down the road or whatever he was doing, because his car was not there.
No.
So, I mean, it's just not a... But his car not there and being where it was, and I guess we need to get into that, but it makes it seem like it's more of someone who knew the area. So I just don't... It's just so damn random, but it's so random that it wouldn't be total random as far as somebody who's like, well, I think I need to kill somebody, I'll just go in here. Because you don't know how many people's in there.
You don't know what you're walking into.
Right, and you only have a knife, apparently.
Supposedly.
That's what we know, anyway.
That's how they were killed.
Yeah, looking like Abraham Lincoln.
We don't know if he had a firearm or what.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we don't know. And there's a very short window of time between the first two ladies being killed and then Dorothy Harris, the owner, coming back.
Right. That's why I'm saying maybe, he was getting ready to leave, and then she drove up. Walked in, and then he got her right at the door.
Yeah, saw her coming in and...
Surprised her, left her, and walked out the front door.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, this whole thing is just so weird.
But the whole thing about him, we keep saying him, but we don't know if it's a him or not.
This is true.
But leaving the front door instead of the back door that normally everyone use makes me wonder how familiar they were with the operations of this business.
Right. Well, then again, maybe he saw a witness lady driving in the parking lot, and he's like, well, I'll just go out the front door because she's going to come in the back.
Yeah.
And while she's coming in the back, I'll roll out the front and go down the alley and be gone.
Yeah.
But she did catch a glimpse of him, so maybe he went out early. I don't know. There's a whole lot of maybes. This is a maybe episode.
Yeah. But just getting into this perpetrator a little bit, the individual believed to have carried out the murders is the person seen leaving, this front door like we were talking about,
yes,
by this customer that was arriving for her 11 a.m. appointment. In between her arrival time and the time that Dorothy Harris left the bank, police believe the murders committed just minutes before the witness came up on the scene. And this leaves little doubt that the person seen leaving is involved. And the witness that was coming in described this suspect to police as an oddly dressed man, while other people nearby corroborated this strange individual walking through the area at the time. This oddly dressed man was described as being young, somewhere in his 20s or early 30s. He stood about 6 feet tall with a narrow facial features. And some believe, due to these features, that this man might have actually been a woman masquerading as a man. But this is mainly chalked up to local gossip and has never been given any credit by the authorities.
Right. Now, she did give us some information and got some sketches and stuff, but, I mean, how good did she really see him? And when you look, what are you going to look at? This hat, probably.
Yeah.
Even though he's a pretty tall individual with slender features is pretty much the gist of what she got.
And the way they were dressed, you would assume that it's a male.
Yeah.
But
that's why people are saying that maybe it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
And they said that he came out the front door, and then the way the route looks, that everybody says that the person took, come out the front door, turn right, and kind of go back around the building. And they say alley a lot of times, but it's not really an alley. It's just between some other buildings, and cut back to the road behind the salon, and then go left. So it'd be like behind a bunch of other buildings and cut down to another road, and then jump a fence and go across a field back to another road. But they only found out this after they got some dogs in there.
Yeah. But this suspect was wearing an unusual wide-brimmed hat, possibly a fedora, or even described as a top hat, which Dale's referred to him as Abe Lincoln. And he was also wearing a black duster coat. But several people from around the area recall seeing this person walking away from the salon in a short period of time after the murder took place.
And it's always described as walking with a purpose. Everybody says he was walking with a purpose, not running, not just casually strolling, but walking with a purpose.
I can see that look. You walk in trying to look all around you, see if anybody's behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be screwing around, but you wouldn't, because a lot of people say, why wouldn't you be running if you're trying to get away from a scene? Well, then that's going to attract more attention, and you're already dressed up like Abraham Lincoln, and you're just going to walk speedily.
Yeah.
without trying to draw any more attention,
But
in my opinion.
But the police did bring out the bloodhounds.
They did.
To attempt to track this suspect for several blocks and eventually trace the scent through a nearby parking lot, several town blocks, a pasture, and finally to a home.
Well, they didn't make it to a home the first time.
They actually done it twice, yeah.
They lost in a field, and then they brought out another dog the next day who picked up the same scent, but went over to, what was it called, One Horse Creek Road. There was a house over there that they tracked it to.
They took it all the way to that house.
Correct.
But when they got to the house and found out who was in the house, it was an elderly man that lived there.
Yeah, kind of disabled.
Yeah, and it was determined that he would be physically unable to commit these crimes.
Right. So what are you thinking there? You thinking maybe this person had a car sitting there?
Maybe.
Or somebody waiting on him there?
Could be.
It's just weird to me. Why would it be there? Why wouldn't his car be closer? Why wouldn't somebody pick him up closer? Why go to this house?
Yeah, back behind the
salon. It's
yeah.
Like a half a mile, I think.
Yeah, it's a good ways.
It's not, just behind the next building. It's a pretty good ways, and you got to jump a fence, and that's what I'm saying. It kind of seems like somebody knew where they were
to be able to make that trek.
Yeah,
those turns. To
yeah,
go there. Yeah.
Why would you be there?
Don't know.
Unless if you knew who lived in that house, and you knew that you could hide your car there because you knew that whoever lived in that house couldn't get up to go see what was going on in the yard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just this whole story is just weird.
I know, but they were stumped. They couldn't move forward on this at all. They had no idea how this took place, who done this, or anything. They didn't have a clue.
Well, think about it. What are you going to have a clue with?
Nothing.
Nothing makes sense.
No.
You got Abraham Lincoln rolling in here and killing these three ladies for no apparent reason, and then leaving and going in a purposeful route through these buildings and over a fence and through a field and to a house where a guy that's can't get up and is disabled, and then his trail's gone right there.
Yeah. The only thing I had was this palm print from inside the
palm print and a pair of glasses.
Yeah, and they did take some palm prints from relatives of the ladies to try to match up something, but they didn't find anything there.
And nobody in anybody's family recognized these glasses.
No.
And like you said, if you're going to kill somebody and do it in a hair salon, there's hair and DNA everywhere.
Oh, yeah, there's stuff everywhere, yeah.
You would think.
So if you're going to do a murder, the best place to do it is in a beauty shop. Yeah.
So, but, what would be the damn purpose? And unless he just was after this manicurist.
Yeah.
The only thing that would make any sense.
I know. But it did go cold. They didn't have nothing to go on. And there was a tip that came in. It was just almost a year later, on September the 4th of 2002. And it came in from Great Bend, Kansas. And it's a town that's very similar to Florence, Montana. But it's a good ways away. Yeah, it's
a long ways. Like, 1,300 miles or something?
Yeah. But Great Bend is right in the middle of Kansas and is roughly right between three large metropolitan areas, Kansas City to the east and Denver to the west and Oklahoma City to the south. But Great Bend is noteworthy for the number of U.S. highways that intersect within it, including Route 56, which runs throughout Great Bend itself. But this happened on September the 4th, 2002. It was on the afternoon, and there was a customer that was pulling into the parking lot of the Dolly Madison Cake Discount Bakery. And this business was located at 1004 Harrison Street.
So this is like a year later, right?
Yeah, almost a year later.
Right, okay.
But just like the Salon Murders there in Florence, this building was a standalone unit, not attached to any strip mall or shopping mall or anything like that, just a single building.
Right.
And as the customer pulled into the parking lot, she saw an unfamiliar man locking the front door. Now, this customer had been there before, and she had never seen this man working. And she got out of her car and approached the front door, Dale. But this unfamiliar man told her that the bakery was closed for the day. And this woman found it kind of odd that, for the bakery to be closing so early in the afternoon.
Right. So apparently he would have to have a key if he was outside locking the door.
Absolutely. And later that evening, a delivery man entered the bakery through the back door, and just inside, he found two bodies. One was Mandy Alexander. She was 24 years old and was the mother of two young kids who had been working at the bakery as a clerk for just 3 days.
Damn.
She'd only been there 3 days, man. How many cases we seen like that where somebody just started a job?
And worse than that is she was picking up somebody else's shift.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the bowling alley.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other person there, the lady there was Mary Drake. She was 79 years old, and she was a customer that had been picking up some bread that afternoon and hadn't come home yet. But both women had been stabbed to death.
So that's what we have. That's the only thing that's in
common. A lot of it's in common, yeah.
Right. So I really don't know if it's got anything to do with the other. It's just a couple of ladies killed, one employee, one customer with a knife or some kind of sharp instrument. But
investigators would later admit that these cases had been linked, but would not say in what way, and they wouldn't elaborate on it in any way.
Now, they did take a little bit of money from this place, but not all of it, which is odd. Why would you steal some of the money and not all of it?
Yeah.
But their purses and wallets and stuff like that were untouched, so they took a little money from the bakery, but that was it.
Yeah. But it is known that the witness description of the man they spoke to is eerily similar to the Florence Montana suspect.
Yeah, it's kind of odd the guy would come out and say, "Oh, sorry, it's closed," and just walk off.
Yeah. But now, getting into their investigation, they did find some suspects in all this. One was a guy named Brian Weber. Now, this Brian Weber, he grew up in Florence, Montana, and in the mid-2000s became a person of interest in this case. And at the time of the murders in 2001, he'd been living in Nampa, Idaho, a city near Boise, which was about 375 miles away from Florence, Montana.
All right, okay.
But Brian had become a small-time drug dealer, and he dealt primarily in methamphetamine, which he also used and become an addict.
So he was smoking his own stuff.
Yes, he was. And because of his meth addiction deal, he began slipping into a world not only of crime but violence.
Yeah, turned very violent.
And those that knew him described him as a violent man.
Yeah, basically he would do whatever it took to get his supply. If he didn't have money, he would rob or whatever, steal, and it didn't matter who it was, family, friends, whoever.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it does to you.
Yeah. And he was questioned shortly after the murders and recollected being asked why his DNA would be present on the premises of this salon. But he said he denied it, but he also admitted that he had been in the salon when it was a post office.
Yeah, not in the salon. He'd been in the building.
Yeah.
But he said, if you find something from 10 years ago, sure. But otherwise, I hadn't been in that place.
Yeah.
So there's no reason my DNA, and he gave his DNA up. He come in and answer questions voluntarily on a Thanksgiving and answer questions and give his DNA, and that's when they ask him his stuff. But they didn't find nothing in there.
Yeah. And he would later admit that while being questioned on all this, he was high.
Oh, of course.
And he was unsure what was asked and what was, how he answered things.
Well, he probably didn't know.
Yeah. And in 2003, Brian Weber was arrested for assaulting another man during a meth deal gone wrong, and his bail was set for $100,000. But he managed to plea deal his sentence down to 3 years shortly after. And the authorities would later admit that they had been determined to hold him for as long as possible, and the reason for this became clear when in 2004 he was charged with a large number of drug-related offenses and later sentenced to 24 years behind bars.
I don't know. Still didn't make sense to me. I don't think none of these three ladies were meth addicts.
No.
I don't think they owed him money, and he didn't take any money.
The only thing they're basing this on, I think, is one of the ladies...
liver?
Yeah, one of the ladies had a relative that was involved in the drug business, and they killed the ladies to send a message. That's the only thing I'm getting out of this.
Well, what message?
I don't know. But over the next few years, authorities were investigating Weber in relation to other crimes in the area, including these salon murders. And police would claim that he had incriminating statements to 2 other inmates, which he denied and has continued to deny any involvement in the murders.
Right.
Yeah.
I think at one point he did say, listen, I've done a lot of bad things and a lot of bad choices, but I am nowhere near this place and not involved in these murders at all.
I know. But police, they even got to the point where they even placed an informant and listening equipment in Brian Weber's cell.
Yeah, basically they tried to get somebody to buddy up to him and get him to talk.
Yeah.
And put a bug in his cell.
Yeah, that's right.
And they still didn't get nothing.
Didn't get nothing, no. But then another guy comes along.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Lincoln Benavides. And this Lincoln Benavides was born in Idaho and was abandoned by his father as a child. And he lived with his mother and a sister, but began using drugs about the age of 9 years old, Dale.
Not good.
No, which would begin a lifelong struggle with his addiction.
Mm-hmm.
In his early teenage years, he became the sole caretaker of his younger sister, and two of them actually were homeless for a period of time. But Lincoln Benavides got into his first legal trouble at the age of 13, and this jump-started his long life criminal deal. Yeah. And after spending his years in foster home, Lincoln began dealing drugs, and due to his range of emotional and mental issues, he became more and more involved in the criminal world.
It's the easy route, man.
Yeah. And in April of 2008, it was alleged in a 15-page indictment that Lincoln Benavides was the leader of a drug distribution ring that employed this Brian Weber as an enforcer, and that both were responsible for multiple assaults, drug offenses, and murder. And this murder charge related to the triple homicide in the Florence Hair Salon.
No, I don't know, man. I know he's done a lot of bad stuff. Like at one point, they found a guy that I think owed him some money, and they just beat him till they got tired of beating him, and they got in a lot of trouble for that and some other stuff. But I just don't see how this connects to the hair salon at all. And like you said, I mean, maybe one of the relatives of one of the ladies, and I'm not sure which one, maybe had a relative that was involved in some kind of stuff like this, and maybe they did it to send a message. But what message? They didn't take any money. They just went in there and killed these folks for nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, they might have been whacked out on meth, but that don't mean you're just turned heartless serial killer. You're just looking for money. And it doesn't advance anything. Unless this woman was maybe laundered money or something.
Yeah, the only thing.
I don't know. And I'm just spitballing. Nothing else. I was just, whatever, go ahead.
I'm
just trying to make it make sense.
It doesn't make sense. But the case against Brian Weber and Lincoln Benavides was put forward by the prosecution. This wasn't considered to be very strong.
No, it don't.
With the indictment alleging the murders were part of a collection of drug debt, but not elaborating on it anymore.
Right.
And within months of Benavides, he managed to get a plea deal where the murder charges were dropped, and he eventually was sentenced to 25 years in prison for the drug offenses.
Yeah, I think they gave him a deal, and then they kind of turned around and said, okay, well, here's your deal, but you're still going to do 25 years. Because I think we're going to give him 30 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then Weber, I think he just held out, and I think everything just fell apart. I think, in my opinion, I think they charged him with all this, hoping that they would say something that they knew, but I don't think either one of them had any idea what went on here. And they just tried to force them to come up with something because they have nothing.
Yeah, try to get a case closed.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think the Patsy boys here. You know what I mean?
Could be. But Brian Weber would take several more years and several failed attempts to have his murder charge dismissed before finally succeeding in 2010 due to new evidence suggesting he had been out of the state at the time the Salon Murders took place.
Which is what he told him the whole time. Because he kind of got straightened up. He'd come out of prison and he got married. But then that kind of went south because they kind of fell out with each other, and then he started threatening to burn their houses down and all this stuff, and then he went back to prison.
Yep.
So maybe she knew some stuff.
But the judge, get this, Dale, he sealed all the court records on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the case remained sealed. And this has caused many to question if this is to protect the case for future trial, or rather to protect the prosecution from the possible revelations that they had attempted to use false information to get a confession out of the two accused men.
I'm leaning toward that.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah. And Brian Weber was released after serving his time, but continued to violate his parole and commit minor drug offenses for years after. He was also finally arrested as part of the FBI sting that could see him spending the rest of his life in prison with a $10 million fine hanging over his head.
Right.
But the case of the Salon Murders, Dale, it's still unsolved to this day, and is mentioned about once a year, on local news channels and on the anniversaries and things. But
right, and we've watched a bunch of those.
Oh yeah, but there's nothing on it. They can't do anything to put this thing to rest at all.
No, nothing.
So I don't know. What are your thoughts on all this, man? What do you think?
I'm confused. I just don't. None of it makes any sense at all. To me, it's like it is. I just don't buy the. It's a random guy that kind of walked up on the street this day and decided, I got an itch for violence and I'm gonna walk in this salon and kill these people. Because it didn't make any sense. I mean, he didn't drive up to it. He parked way away, or I say parked. I really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He could have just flew away. I don't know. Had a motorcycle. Who knows what he had? I mean, because he walked out the front door, down that way, down the street, jumped the fence, across the field, went to this house. Trail ends.
Yeah, you did find a picture of this route he took.
Yeah.
To go back to where that the dogs tracked his scent.
Right.
And we'll post these pictures.
Yeah. So I mean, then it goes to this house somewhere on that road. It didn't show the exact house he went to, but where apparently he would have known this guy was disabled, or you think he would, or maybe he's just got lucky. He's parked on the side of the road. It doesn't make sense. If he just random wanted to go kill somebody, he'd just drive up and go in the building and kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, you ain't going to walk a half a mile looking like Abraham Lincoln.
I know, but the whole knife thing of it, it's not like these buildings were stacked on top of each other.
Right.
And I think he could have went in there with a gun, a small caliber gun, shot these women, and it wouldn't have been heard.
Maybe he didn't have a gun.
Maybe not. It's just the fact that he was able to subdue 2 women.
Well, I don't think that'd be hard at all.
You don't think so?
No.
With a knife?
No.
Hmm.
I don't. Not when one's 70 years old and getting her nails done. You walk up behind them, you got a big enough knife. All you got to do is put it up to her throat and drag her up, and the other girl's going to do whatever you say.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know. I just don't know how I would act if somebody come in and pulled a knife on me. And I'd be fighting, definitely be fighting, but I just don't know.
Would you be fighting if you was doing somebody's nails and a guy come up behind her and put a knife to her throat and say, I'm going to cut her head off if you don't get your ass up and get in that closet?
I'd start fighting.
That's me. You don't care about the woman with a knife to her neck? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I'd be fighting.
So that's what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Sorry, Grandma.
Yeah, I mean, it is. You got to do what you got to do.
So I don't know. Just none of this makes sense.
Mm-mm.
Abraham Lincoln hitman.
Yeah, that's what they're describing him as. Top hat or a fedora. And we've got pictures of this sketch that was done. And it's pretty interesting. One of the photos of the sketch shows a smiling man, like he's smiling. Have you seen that one?
I've seen the pictures, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they're all just unreliable sketches. Somebody caught a glimpse of a guy in a damn top hat and a coat with a slender feature driving around the building. I think they were not the guy driving, but the witness.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't have walked to the front door to see him coming out the front door if they were going to the back to go in the back door.
Yeah, they saw him pulling in. They were pulling in and saw somebody come out the front door and caught a glimpse.
And she thought it was odd because nobody used that door.
Yeah, which I get it.
And then he looked like Abraham Lincoln. So you're going to look. Probably looking at the hat more in the face, truthfully.
Yeah.
Because you're like, who in the hell wears a top hat?
Top hat or a fedora.
Well, there's a big difference.
Oh, yeah, definitely a difference. I just don't know, man.
None of it makes sense. And then, I don't think none of these ladies were meth addicts because they didn't look like meth addicts.
Mm-mm.
That, you looked at enough court records that you see what generally a meth addict is going to look like. Yeah. And, the only thing, if you really start spitballing, the only thing you can really think is maybe it was something to do with money. Somebody owed somebody some money, but they didn't take any money. Mm-hmm. And if it was money and they knew whoever was related or something to these people, they would know, well, just go there Tuesday morning because she comes out with the money every Tuesday morning. And all you have to do is sit there. As soon as she comes out to go to the bank, you get her then, you get the money, you roll. They didn't even take the lady's pocketbooks or nothing.
Mm-mm.
There was no sexual nothing going on. So
none of that.
So that was not a motive. So it's just like a random killing for no reason, but there's a reason in there somewhere because it's just too random to be random.
The police did say that they believe that a family member of one of the victims had something to do with some drugs or something owing money. That's what they believe.
Well, that might be true.
But they ain't telling what else they got.
But how does this solve that at all? They don't get any money back.
No.
I'm gonna go kill with these 3 people because you owe me money. Why don't you just kill him?
I guess when you high on meth, you do about anything. I don't know. I don't know how it works. But it's a sad situation all the way around. These ladies getting killed for
for nothing.
No reason, yeah.
That we know of.
Mm-mm.
Now, I don't know. I mean, you know, when she first opened this place, she was partnered up with her nephew, who later split off and started his own salon. So I kind of looked at it a little bit, and then you sent me a picture of her son, her being Dorothy.
The owner's son.
Yeah, talking outside of a courthouse, wearing some glasses that looked just almost identical to the glasses that they found in there.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and he's got slender features. It's like, whoo, wait a minute. So I looked at the drawings and looking at him, and I'm going,
That's style of glasses they found. That's his style he wears.
That's what I was telling you. If that was my style of glasses and they found them glasses in that place, I'd be wearing Ray-Bans from then on out or something. I ain't putting them on the same ones because it was scarily how similar he looked to that drawing.
Because everybody likes their own style of glasses they wear.
Yeah, it's kind of like the ones I wear.
Yeah, little wraparounds, yeah.
Yeah.
You wasn't there, was you?
Wasn't me. The way I'm taller.
But I was watching that news clip, and I saw her son coming out the courthouse giving an interview with them glasses. I said, holy cow.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it.
And I had to go back and find that photograph of the glasses that they released, and I was like, they're identical.
Identical. I couldn't believe it either.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, what am I looking at here? And you're like, that's her son. I'm like, whoa. So then you said, well, maybe they found some glasses like his and threw them in there just to throw them off, make it look like her son did it, which is a possibility. Hell, it might have been him. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We're just
throwing it out there.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just so mind blowing because it is so random. There's no, you can't. Usually, we'll have a kind of a hold on what we think happened, on these things.
There's so many on this.
Yeah, it's just so many stuff that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
He parked so far away, or like I say, parked or waited. He got away somehow. Well, the dog's lost his scent somehow, put it that way. We don't know if he was picked up or somebody picked him up or he drove away or he parked at this guy's house or they didn't find any tire tracks that they said, random tire tracks.
Yeah. But this small town.
They did find a footprint, but they didn't say they didn't know if it was his or not.
Yeah. But this small town of Florence, I watched many interviews with town folk there after this happened, and they were describing their little community as just safe. Nobody locked their doors.
Yeah.
Everybody was they knew everybody around.
I don't believe that either.
No.
I mean, I believe they said it, and the door locking thing, I couldn't get that. But knowing everybody there, like I said, we were talking about this earlier, and we live in a pretty small community. And I don't know everybody here.
No.
Hell, I don't know people live right up the road from me.
Mm-mm.
So, now, would I know Abraham Lincoln if he's walking up a road? No, I wouldn't know him, but I damn sure remember seeing him. And if he's walking with a purpose, yeah, I saw him, but that don't mean I know who he was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I see people walking on the road a lot that I have no idea who they are, or where they live. So this idea that just because it's a smaller community that everybody knows everybody, I don't buy that.
No, but this rocked this little community. Everybody got armed, and they wouldn't go anywhere without a gun. They were really,
they were really. One guy wouldn't even go look at his mailbox without the gun in his pocket. He got serious.
Yeah, but it rocked this little community, man. And I think it still affected it to this day.
Well, I'm sure because it's so unexplainable, is what it is. Because it's just so out of the blue. There's no way to explain what would have caused it or what you could do to keep it from being caused.
True.
Caused. Keep it from being whatever the right word is there. Keep it from happening. Because it's just, I don't know.
We don't have an answer.
We don't, and they don't either.
But yeah, it's crazy.
Sorry, Rena. Another unsolved case.
But this story was featured on America's Most Wanted on season 15, episode 10.
Yeah.
And I tried to find this episode and I can't find it.
I can't find it. I couldn't find it in either season.
No.
And I usually don't have a problem.
Yeah. But this is a pretty tragic case, but we wanted to get out there and make people more aware of it. And it's one of them lesser known stories that sort of fell in the background a little bit.
Yeah. It is very, very strange.
Yeah. All right, Dale, we're going to get out of here, man.
All right, let's roll.
We want everyone to be safe. Please be careful and always be aware of your surroundings.
Because the next episode could be about you.
This is the Crack House Chronicles.